Hello, sisters and brothers. Our devotional for today, for June 29, is a reflection on My Utmost for His Highest, a series of devotionals written and compiled by Oswald Chambers. You can always find the link for the daily devotional at utmost.org. And today's devotional looks at our spiritual discipline and part of the Sermon on the Mount that was delivered by Jesus, and we find it in Matthew chapter 5. We're going to read verses 29 and 30 of Matthew 5. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. And Chambers' title is the devotional for today, The Strictest Discipline, looking at that second verse there. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you, for it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. Matthew 5, verse 30. Jesus did not say that everyone must cut off his right hand, but that if your right hand causes you to sin in your walk with him, then it is better to cut it off. There are many things that are perfectly legitimate, but if you are going to concentrate on God, you cannot do them. Your right hand is one of the best things you have, but Jesus says that if it hinders you in following his precepts, then cut it off. The principle taught here is the strictest discipline or lesson that ever hit humankind. When God changes you through regeneration, giving you new life through spiritual rebirth, your life initially has the characteristic of being maimed. There are 101 things that you dare not do, things that would be sin for you and would be recognized as sin by those who really know you. But the unspiritual people around you will say, "What's so wrong with doing that? How absurd you are." There has never yet been a saint who has not yet lived a maimed life initially. Yet it is better to enter into life maimed but lovely in God's sight than to appear lovely to man's eyes but lame to God's. At first, Jesus Christ, through his Spirit, has to restrain you from doing a great many things that may be perfectly right for everyone else, but not right for you. Yet, see that you don't use your restrictions to criticize someone else. The Christian life is a maimed life initially, but in verse 48, Jesus gave us the picture of a perfectly well-rounded life. You shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. So this strictest discipline that Chambers is talking about here, he's talking about the way that we should proceed when we are operating in the life of Christ, when we're following Jesus. And one of those ways is to make sure that we are very strict about avoiding and cutting off things from our life that would cause us to sin. And this is not a new concept in terms of Chambers talking about it in his devotionals. We have to take it very seriously. We cannot minimize it and say, "Oh, well, that wasn't so bad," or "I survived, therefore it's fine." We don't know what type of stumbling block it may eventually lead to be, not only for ourselves, but also the stumbling block it may be for others. So we have to take that very seriously. If we notice that a continued thing is causing us to sin, then we are meant to cut that thing off in the sense that we are not to do it. Think of it in terms of people who are in recovery from alcoholism. They say they would not even go into a bar, or much less even have one drink, because they know where it can lead them. Well, sin can be the same way in terms of what it may cause us to do and the way that it may affect our lives. Now, is some hope, and that is that Jesus will, again, with grace and with time and by the power of the Holy Spirit, lead us into a place where we can operate in a less restrained way, where we are operating within the confines of what the Holy Spirit would have us to do. We are in obedience with the will of God. But there are times where when we notice something, we have to initially cut it off. But again, just as Chambers says, it's not to be in a position for us to judge others. We still have to apply grace and extend mercy towards others who may be struggling with something very similar. This is not a position for us to take as a high place and say, "Well, I don't do that, therefore I'm better than you." No, we still have to meet people with grace. But we have to be careful that we're operating in a way that does not lead us away from God. We should not love a particular thing any more than how much we love God. And the way that we operate in our lives will show that. Thank you as always for listening. Be safe and stay well.